Hari Om, can you all hear me well online? Okay. यन्मायावशवर्ति विश्वमखिलं ब्रह्मादिदेवासुरा यत्सत्त्वाद्यमृषैव भाति सकलं रज्जौ यथा हेर्भ्रमः यत्पादप्लवमेकमे वहि भवाम्बोधे स्थितिर्षावताम् वन्देऽहं तमशेषकारणपरं रामाख्यमीशं हरिम्। श्रीराम जय जय राम ॐ 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 जय जय राम ॐ जय राम ॐ। सियावर रामचंद्र की जय। सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय। ओम श्री चिन्मय सद्गुरवे नमः। 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 We were in AranyaKandh, where different devotees are meeting the Lord. The devotee whom we just saw, his name was Sharanga Rishi. Shara means an arrow or tendency to hurt. Sharabhanga means the one in whom this tendency has been removed for good. One with a very pleasant personality, that is an insignia of a devotee. But the greatness of Sharabhanga Rishi was, he was on his way to Brahmaloka. Means his sadhana, his tapasya was such, Indra Bhagwan's chariot had come to take him. And he tells Bhagwan that, Bhagwan, I came to know that you are going to come. So I told Indra Bhagwan to wait. Or he sent him away. Meaning, love for God is greater than any loka prapti. Pure love for God supersedes any other result we can get in this world or in other worlds. And with his own yoga agni, he gives up his body, requesting Bhagwan to stand in front of him. There are great devotees who have done that. One is Bhishma Pitamaha. He says, Bhagwan, stand like that. Second is Vali. If you read that portion in Ramacharitmanas, Bhagwan asks him, you asked me so many questions. You also asked me why I shot that arrow from behind the tree. He gives all answers. Vali is convinced. Then Bhagwan says, now that you have surrendered unto me, because Vali says, Bhagwan, I have realized my mistake, I surrender unto you. Bhagwan says, I can give you your healthy body back. Do you want it? And Vali says, Bhagwan, so many great rishis do tapasya to remember you at the time of death. And here I am, you are standing in front of me. May my mind not go anywhere, including towards Angada. That is why he gives Angadji to Bhagwan first. Like that, Sharanga Rishi put his mind in the Lord and attained the Supreme. Now another devotee is going to come, who is another exalted devotee of the Lord, Sutikshna Rishi. Tikshna means sharp, Sutikshna means very sharp. The one who has single-pointed devotion to the Lord. All sadhana chatushtayas are very sharp in him. Viveka is sharp, Vairagya is sharp, Shamadhi Shatka Sampatti, Mumukshutvam. Qualifications are exalted. He was the disciple of Agastya Rishi. After completing his study, he insisted on giving Guru Dakshina, and Agastya Rishi said, "Bring Lord Rama to me. That is your Guru Dakshina." Now he asked, "Where will I find Bhagwan?" He said, "Do japa. This is the mantra diksha. This is the mantra you have to chant. Do it sincerely. That will bring the Lord to you." That was his injunction. And he has done that. Now he is going to meet the Lord. After 9th Doha, we'll change the tune slightly. Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Rama. 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 Muni Agasti Kar Sesha Sujana. Nama Suti Chanarati Bhagavana. Mana Krama Bachana Ram Pad Sevak. Sapne Huan Bharosan Devak. प्रभुआ गवनो श्रवण सुनि पावा. करत मनोरथ आतुर धावा. हे विधि दीन बंधु रघुराया. मोसे सठ पर करिह हिदाया. सहित अनुज मोहि राम गोसाई. मिलिहि निज सेवक की नाई. मोरे जिय भरोस दृढ़ नाही. भगति बिरति न ज्ञान मन माही. नहीं सतसंग जोग जप जागा. नहीं दृढ़ चरण कमल अनुरागा. एक बानी करुणा निधान की. सो प्रिय जाके गति न आन की. होई है सुफल आजु मम लोचन. देखी बदन पंकज भव मोचन. निर्भर प्रेम मगन मुनि ज्ञानी. कही न जाई सो दशा भवानी. दिसियरु बिदिसि पंथ नहीं सूझा. को मैं चले कहा नहीं बूझा. कबहु फिरी पाछे पुनि जाई. कबहु नृत्य करई गुण गाई. अबिरल प्रेम भगति मुनि पाई. प्रभु देखे तरु ओट लुकाई. अतिशय प्रीति देखी रघुबीरा. प्रगटे हृदय हरन भव धीरा. मुनि मग माझ अचल होई बैसा. पुलक शरीर पनस फल जैसा। तब रघुनाथ निकट चली आए, देखी दशा निज जन मन भाए। मुनि राम बहुभाति जगावा, जागन ध्यान जनित सुख पावा। भूप रूप तब राम दुरावा, हृदय चतुर भुज रूप दिखावा। मुनिय कुलाई उठा तब कैसे, बिकलहीन मणि फनि बर जैसे। आगे देखी राम तन श्यामा, सीता अनुज सहित सुख धामा। परेउल कुट इव चरण ढिलागे, प्रेम मगन मुनि बर बड़ भागी। भुज विशाल गहि लिए उठाई, परम प्रीति राखे उर लाई। मुनि मिलत यस सोह कृपाला, कनक तरुहि जनु भेटत माला। राम बदनु बिलोक मुनि ठाढ़ा, मानहु चित्र माझ लिखि काढ़ा। तब मुनि हृदय धीर धरि, गहि पद बारहि बार। निज आश्रम प्रभु आनि करी, पूजा विविध प्रकार। सियावर रामचंद्र की जय, पवन सुत हनुमान की जय। उमापति महादेव की जय, बोलो भाई सब संतन की जय। श्री सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय। मुनि अगस्तिकर शिष्य सुजाना. Great is the Guru, but even greater is the disciple, because he is Sujana. Not only he has devotion to God, but he is also having good values. Nama Sutichana Rati Bhagavana. His name was Sutikshna, and he had Tikshna Rati, intense love for God. Manakrama Bachana Ramapada Sevaka. In his mind, in his action, in his speech, what showed was his devotion to Bhagwan Rama. Meaning what he thought, what he did, and what he spoke was something that was always favorable to Bhagwan. That was his conduct. Sapanehu ana bharosana devaka. Even in dream, he would not rely upon any other support. Now this phrase is very interesting. If you look at it closely, it gives the meaning of Ananya Ashraya. Ananya Ashraya means holding on to one support. What we also call as Ananya Bhakti. Now Ananya Bhakti doesn't mean that we worship one form but have aversion towards other forms. Ananya Bhakti means that devotee worships all forms. But his Vishwasa, his faith is in a particular form. And more he appreciates his faith, more he appreciates his ability to relate with his chosen form, he can appreciate the ability of the other devotee to relate with their form. There is no sense of one superior than the other. That is the meaning of this Sapanehu ana bharosana devaka. Prabhu agavanu shravana sunipava, karata manoratha aturadhava. Listening to this news that Bhagwan has come, Sutikshna ji just started running. He didn't even know which direction Bhagwan is coming, how far he is, where I need to go. None of that he thought. All he knew was Bhagwan is coming closer. Different commentators, they have given beautiful elaboration of this. They say as he was walking on that path, He found that path was empty. That's why you see here, Karata Manoratha Atura Dhava. He started running. No description of who else was there. So one Mahatma Ji, he says, path towards God will always be open for us. No obstacles, nobody to stop us except our own mind. Our own vasanas. Other than that, no external thing can stop our journey towards God. If at all we are feeling some obstacle, very likely we are holding on to some worldly thing and not God. Because in worldly thing, there is a lot of competition. Worldly thing, you'll have many people competing for that one thing. So he gives an example. If somebody wants some name and position, let us say, for that one position, 10 people will be eyeing. So if you start walking on that path, you'll have 10 people there. 10 people towards the end, several more before that. And he wants something and he feels there is some obstacle coming in what I want. But on the other hand, if somebody wants God, he says you'll find that road empty. Nobody is there. You can walk with full freedom. So what is the sadhana here? The conclusion of that discussion was, whenever we feel there is some obstacle, we have to look within. Very likely we are holding on to this world. For any worldly thing, if there is competition, if there is jealousy, if there is several people eyeing for that one position, it is not surprising. But the one who is going towards Bhagwan, there is no competition. This prasanga will come again in Sundarkanda. The third Rakshasi that Hanumanji faces, her name is Nisichari. How would she pull down people? Whoever shadow fell in that ocean, she would hold on to that shadow and pull that person down. And Nisichari represents jealousy. Nisichari represents jealousy. So how should a sadhaka become free from jealousy, matsarya? Matsarya means mattaha sarati. Person is going ahead of me. Some other person is going ahead of me. The sadhana given there is, for a sadhaka, he should sign a non-competition waiver with the world. Internally he should sign non-competition waiver with the world. Because the moment he wants something of this world, he cannot but avoid all these other things. As goal of life is seeking some worldly thing. He cannot avoid competition, cannot avoid jealousy. So it all depends upon what is my goal. Now slowly we will realize if Bhagwan becomes the goal, then all our actions are for the Lord. And in our pursuit towards the Lord, whatever is coming through that action, sadhaka says, I can handle it, I'm okay. The same example comes in Srimad Bhagavatam, that osprey, which was carrying the meat in its beak, all other birds were attacking it. And it was wondering, why are people after me? Then it realizes, this is the thing they are after, the meat, not me. The moment it drops it, all birds leave it and go after it. So that piece of meat represents some erroneous thing which you have held on to very tightly. Some worldly thing. And holding on to it to expect that we will be free from samsara. That is never going to happen. Strong desire for something in this world and freedom from panchaklesha. Panchaklesha means all the inner conflicts that keep rising in the form of asmita, raga, dvesha, abhinivesha. One cannot be free from both. So many a times this point will be presented in different ways. Kathopanishad said, what is our varanam? Varanam means choice. We might be doing several things. Japa also we are doing, pujanam also we are doing. But having done that, what do we want? So the one who seeks Bhagwan is freed from all other things. And this path towards the Lord is empty. If at all there are obstacles, they come by erroneously holding on to some worldly goal. Okay. Sapanihu ana bharosana devaka. Then he starts walking towards the Lord. He bidi dina bandhu raghuraya. In his mind he is thinking all these things now. He is so delighted that he is going to meet Bhagavan. But he says, will Bhagavan shower his grace on me? Mo se satha para kari hahi daya. This is another quality we see in all devotees. Sharanga Rishi, Sutikshna ji, they have done so much sadhana, but they feel they are the most lowly person in this world. You see what word he uses? Sata. Sata means selfish. On such a selfish person will Bhagwan shower his grace. Sahita Anuja Mohi Rama Gosai. Sita ji is also there. Lakshman ji is also there. I will meet all of them. Mili hahi nija sevaka ki nai. Will Bhagwan meet me, considering me as his sevaka? Because when sadhaka looks at his own mind, he realizes there is so much more work to be done. Whenever that bhavana comes, that is when person has started walking on path of sadhana. Different saints, they say in couplet forms. If I see outside, bura jo dekha na main chala, bura na milya koi. I went outside trying to find the wicked person. Jo dil khoja apna, mujhse bura na koi. Outside I could not find even one wicked person, but when I saw within, I saw there is nobody more wicked than me myself. That is his anubhuti when he tries to tame this mind. That is his experience when he tries to discipline his mind. That is this feeling over here. Sahita Anuja Mohi Rama Gusai, Milihahi Nija Sevaka ki nai. More jiya bharosa drudha nahi. He says, in my heart, this faith has not come very firmly yet. Bhagati birati na jnana mana mahi. I don't have devotion, I don't have dispassion, I don't have knowledge either. Nahi satasanga. Yoga japa jaga. Neither can I do satsang for long time, neither have I mastered any form of yoga, nor is my japa steady, nor can I do any form of yajna. Jaga means yajna. Nahi druda charana kamala anuraga. Neither do I have firm devotion to Bhagwan's lotus feet. Eka bani karuna nidhanaki. But I have heard one speech of Bhagwan, one promise of Bhagwan. So priya jake gatina anaki. If some devotee can wholeheartedly take God and God's support alone, that person is very dear to Bhagwan. His main criteria is this: am I taking support if I have some problem that I want to solve? Am I taking support of some person, some worldly thing, and God also? Or am I taking support only of God? And other things as something that is sent by God only. Primary support is God. He says, those who have no other support, Bhagwan loves those devotees. Which means what? Even if I don't have these previous things, devotion is not there, dispassion is not there, knowledge is not there, neither sadhanas are consistent. He said it doesn't matter. What matters is, do I have multiple supports or only God as support? In entire Ramacharitmanas, whenever you see devotees' description, one point they emphasize is self-effort is a starting point, but culmination is God's grace. That is the beauty of devotional path. Starting is with self-effort, but culmination of the journey is only Bhagwan's grace. And in devotees' eyes, self-effort doesn't have too much importance. Somebody like Hanumanji, if you go and ask him, how did you accomplish all this work that you did in Lanka? Not even once he will say, it was because of me. That is one unique feature that you have to appreciate and notice in a bhakta. Between krupa and prayatna, prayatna is downplayed in his eyes. And he might have put more prayatna than anybody else. But that is not the main thing. And the beauty is, whenever he goes to Bhagavan, he knows that Bhagavan, I worked hard. But whatever you think is good, that you give. And if Bhagavan gives, he gives much more than what prayatna we have done. This is another irony or loss for a person who has too much mahatva buddhi in prayatna. If we take self-effort to be supreme, then that person will demand results only proportional to his effort. But for a bhakta, he says, Bhagwan, I have done my part. Now whatever you want to give, you give. One commentator, Mahatmaji, he writes, first option is giving something to get. I give something, and whatever I have given, according to that only I want back. And second option is, whatever is there, that I will get. So it is like, if there is a bank and you keep some ornaments or something there. Now it's your ornament you have kept. So you give something, you will get what it is. But let us say, the one who owns the bank is pleased and he wants to give. Now he will not calculate how much you have kept and how much you will receive back. So that is why it is said, from a big person, wise thing is to allow them to give. Not ask, give me this. This is how Ramkinkarji Maharaj has explained this Chaupai. He says the thing we should note is between prayatna and krupa. What is downplayed is prayatna, after doing everything. Because so priya jaake gati na anaki. Whatever sadhana he has done, he says that is fine. Even if he has not done, it is okay. But his purity of choosing God, that will decide everything for him. Then he feels that his eyes will be fulfilled today by looking at Bhagwan's lotus-like face. Deki badana pankaja bhava mochana. Nirbhara prema magana muni jnani. He has exalted love for Bhagwan and he is drowned in that love. And that Muni is Jnani also, person of great wisdom. But according to him, he says, I have no knowledge, no devotion, nothing. Kahi na jai so dasa bhavani. Whenever a devotee has purest love for God, Goswamiji says, I cannot describe it. One can only look at their mind, strive to walk that path. Description of that is not possible. Now he has no clue, Sutikshnaji, what is happening to him. Disi aru bidisi panta nahi suja. He doesn't know what are the directions. Where is north, where is south, east, west, he doesn't know anything. And he doesn't know which path to take. Sometimes he forgets who he is. And he forgets where he is going. Kabahu ka phiri pache puni jai. Sometimes he goes ahead, turns around, comes behind. Kabahu ka nritya kare gunagai. Sometimes he starts dancing, singing Bhagwan's glory. These are all expressions of exalted love, which are to be adored, not necessarily emulated. What we should emulate is how they were able to cultivate this. Because sometimes the external expression, one should not get carried away by it. So when Sutikshna Rishi does stuti of the Lord, that time he pours his heart out. That this is the Lord on whom I meditate. So that we have to note. Expression of it will be very different for different Mahatmas. Like if you look at the expression of devotion in Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, very different than expression of devotion in Swami Vivekananda. Ramakrishna Paramahamsa going in Bhava Samadhi. Suddenly people have to hold him from all sides. Every other page he goes in trance in that gospel. Master went in trance, there is a blank, then after again he comes back and starts. So that external expression is something to be adored. Emulation is how pure was their heart and what all things they did to reach there. Abhirala prema bhagati muni pai. This is what one has to strive for. What did Sutikshna Rishi get? He got unbroken love for God and ability to think of God. See, we must be doing some or the other sadhana for some time. Now, if one is not doing, then doing something is better than not doing. But if somebody is already doing something, what we should strive for is this, aviralata. When we think of God, that thought is called as Bhagavad Akara Vritti. But along with that Bhagavad Akara Vritti, several other worldly thoughts also come. One thought about Lord Shiva, then second thought about some work-related thing, third thought about some duty, fourth about some person, then again Lord Shiva. That vichara is called as Virala Vichara. Person is sitting, might be chanting the name also, but mind is going all over. Aviralata is that ability where this thinking is unbroken. So what we should strive in sadhana is this. Prabhu dekhe taru ote lukai. All of this expression of devotion, running around, forgetting directions, forgetting who he is, all these things Bhagavan is watching from behind a tree. Just like if child is doing some play, how we will watch without saying anything because we enjoy it. Like that, Bhagavan is enjoying Sutikshna ji's devotion to Bhagavan. Atisaya Priti Dekhe Raghubira. Bhagavan loves to see his devotees. He got lot of joy looking at him, and he appeared in his heart. Pragate Hrudaya Harana Bhava Bhira. Removing all fears and anxiety, Bhagavan manifested in his mind. Now you see Sutikshna Rishi, who was dancing, forgetting directions, going all over the place. Suddenly he sits down. Muni maga maja achala hui baisa. In between the street, he sat down. Remember, this is the street towards God. No vehicles, no people, nobody is there. Only companions will be other devotees, but they are very few in number. So he sat down in the middle of the road. How did he sit down? Pulaka sarira panasa phala jaisa. Horripilations on his body like a jackfruit. Katahal. Like that he sat down in the middle of the road. Taba Raghunatha nikate chali aaye. Bhagavan came closer to him. Dekhi dasa nija jana mana bhai. He was delighted to see his own devotee in this condition. Munihi Rama bahu bhati jagava. Bhagavan tried to wake him up. He must have spoken something, sang something, touched him. Nothing is working. Jagana dhyana janita sukha pava. Because Sutikshna ji was so much drowned in the ecstasy of meditation, the joy that he was getting at the seat of his meditation. You know, when you sleep after jet lag, if somebody wakes us up, how nothing works. Or when we are in deep sleep, it is such a great blissful experience, no other thing can interfere. Initial stages of sadhana, our struggle is to bring back the mind from the world. Somebody like Sutikshna ji, their trouble is to take the mind back to the world. But this particular quality is an expression of his Nishta in sadhana. Nishta means abidance. In that dhyana sadhana, he is so committed that he is unable to come out of it. And that person who is committed in any practice, Bhagavan says that devotee is very dear to me. This is where the story of Pundarika is very popular. The one who made Pandurang Bhagwan get the name as Vitthala. They say when Bhagwan came to give him darshan, he was serving his parents. And he was so engrossed, he didn't even pay attention to Bhagwan standing behind him. And Bhagwan said, I have come. Pundarika says, right now I am busy. Let me finish this, then I will come to you. And Bhagavan says, what should I do until then? He gives him a brick. And he says, Bhagavan, you stand on this. Until I am done, you stand on this. So brick is wheat in Marathi. And sthala means position. So wheat and sthala, both together became Vitthala. But this story is symbolic of the fact that whoever has Nishtha in one particular thing that they are doing, that is powerful enough to invoke God's grace. It might be Karma Yoga, whatever Bhagwan has given to us as sadhana, seva. If one can be committed to it and doing with this single pointed Nishtha, that is powerful enough to bring Bhagwan's grace. Dhyana janita sukapava, bhupa rupa taba rama durava. Then Bhagwan said, this is not working. How will I wake him up? See, Bhagwan is also eager to meet Sutikshna Rishi. Otherwise, he could have just gone away. He said, he is not waking up. Why should I bother? So what he does is, the form on which Sutikshna ji was meditating, he withdraws that form. Bhagwan Rama's form. Imagine this situation. Bhagwan is standing in front. Sutikshna Rishi has his eyes closed and is meditating upon Bhagwan's form within. And Bhagwan withdraws that form, shows him his Chaturbhuja Rupa. 4 arms. That form he shows. Now you see, even to get darshan of that form, one has to do so much tapasya. Shaturupa ji, the first darshan she got was of Chaturbhuja Rupa. Manu and Shaturupa ji. Now this particular form, when it comes, Sutikshna ji gets very agitated. Muni akulai utha taba kaise. Suddenly he gets up. Bikala hina mani phani bara jaise. Just like the money has been removed from the snake's head. How it will get anxious? This is an ancient example. They would say that cobra and other snakes, they had one gem on top. The moment you remove that gem, they would get very antsy and anxious. Like that he got anxious because his Ishtarupa, the form on which he was used to meditating for so long, that form was withdrawn. Means this just shows the oneness that a devotee has with his altar of meditation. That whenever he wants, he can bring that form. In simple words, we should have some anchor that reminds us of God. Some anchor. That's why in our homes we keep idols. Every other place we put pictures. What is the purpose of that? So that wherever we go at different times of the day, we should be reminded of Bhagwan. So in the midst of all art pieces, everything else, this picture also should be there. Although everything is God, art piece is also God. But looking at it, that bhavana doesn't come. But if you see Morpank, peacock feather, Bhagwan Krishna is reminded. If you see that bow and arrow symbol, we remember Bhagwan Rama. And if you see that picture, that is also a reminder. So one form that he is able to put his mind in, that is upasana. Sometimes you have this question, what is the harm in meditating upon different forms? One answer you will find in this prasanga. If mind has to get absorbed in one altar, then giving that one form is necessary. So much so that if you give any other form, it should get agitated. That is our Sutikshna Rishi. Age dheki Rama tanasyama, Sita anuja sahita sukha dhama. And when he opened his eyes, he saw it was none other than Bhagwan Rama, Sita ji and Lakshman ji standing in front of him. He does Dandavat Pranam and is filled with joy. Prema Magana Munimara Barabada Bhagi. Bhagwan with his long arms lifts him. Bhuja Bisala Gahi Liye Uthai, Parama Preeti Rakhe Uralai. And he embraces him with lot of love. How did that embracing of Sutikshna Rishi and Bhagwan Rama look? Goswamiji says, Kanaka taruhi janu bheta tamala. There are two trees. One tree is Dhatura tree. Kanaka taruhi refers to that tree which has golden flowers. So Dhatura is one tree, and Tamala Vriksha, which is dark in its color. So Sutikshna Rishi is shining brightly like that golden Dhatura tree, and Bhagwan Rama is the Tamala Vriksha, the darker one. If they meet together, how it feels? Like that it was when Sutikshna Rishi was embracing Bhagwan Rama. He saw Bhagwan's face. Rama Badanu Biloka Muni Thada. And it was so beautiful, he just kept seeing. Like how you have figures drawn in a painting, how still it is. Like that, Sutikshna Rishi was enjoying the form of Bhagwan Rama. Then he didn't know how much time went in just this joy of looking at the Lord. Taba muni hrudaya dhira dhari, gahi pada bharahi bhara. He worshipped Bhagwan's feet and got courage in his heart to speak, say something. Nija ashrama prabhu ani kari, puja bibida prakara. Then he did all different upachara, puja of the Lord. Now this stuti is very popular. It is called as Sutikshnaji's stuti. Simple name, huh? Sutikshnaji doing stuti. Sutikshnaji's stuti. Nothing special about it. The name per se, but the topics covered are very, very profound. How to get depth in our sadhana? We can get it by getting a glimpse into the mind of an upasaka. What we see from outside is he is running around, going into samadhi, Bhagwan coming and giving him darshan. Now all those are results. What did he do so that Bhagwan was pleased with him? That is mentioned whenever he does stuti. Any devotee, when they do stuti, we get a glimpse on what sadhana they did, how they looked upon God, and how they absorbed their mind in God. You see this one now. Kaha muni prabhu suni binati mori, astuti karo kavana vidhi tori, mahima amita mori mati thori, rabisan mukha khadyota ajori, श्यामताम रसदाम शरीरम जटामुकुट परिधन मुनिचीरम पाणिचाप शरकटी तुणीरम नौमि निरंतर श्री रघुवीरम मोह विपिन घन दहन कृशानुः संत सरोरुह कानन भानुः निशिचर करि वरूथ मृगराज है त्रातु सदा नो भव खगबाज है अरुण नयन राजीव सुवेशम सीता नयन चकोर निशेषम हर हृदि मानस बालमरालम नौमि राम उर बाहु विशालम. Let's see this four first. Okay, it's a long stuti. Kaha muni prabhu suni binati mori. Bhagwan, please listen to my humble request. Astuti karao kavana vidhi tori. See, stuti, they add an a before it, but it doesn't negate it. Vidya, if you add a before it, it becomes avidya. So stuti, if you add a before it, it doesn't negate the meaning of the word stuti. It's a way of saying in Avadi Bhasha. Astuti karao kavana vidhi tori. How should I sing your glory? Mahima amita mori mati thori. Your greatness cannot be fathomed by my limited mind, limited intellect. Rabi sanamukha khadyota ajori. In front of the sun, firefly, how much can it glow? Shyama tamarasa dama shariram. So in this entire Stuti, you will find description of Nama, Rupa, Guna. Power of name of the Lord, form of the Lord, and qualities of the Lord. Now form, Shama Tamarasa, your dark body, just like a string of lotuses tied together. Jata Mukuta, your crown is of your jata only. You don't have a separate crown. Your jata itself is adorning like a crown. Paridhana Munichiram, and you are wearing bark of a tree and you are in ascetic form. In your hand you have bow and arrow and quiver on your waist. Naumi Nirantara Shri Raghuviram. This form of the Lord, may I meditate without any break. At all times I meditate upon this form of the Lord. Puja Guruji has compiled all stutis of Ramacharitmanas. This stuti is also there, Sutikshna Ji Stuti. And the name of that CD is Naumi Nirantara Shri Raghuviram. So that name has come from this stuti. Naumi Nirantara Shri Raghuviram. Moha Vipina. Now he is praising the protector form of the Lord. That there are different things in my life that I need Bhagwan's protection on. What are those things? First is delusion. He says, for this delusion, which is like a thick forest, you are like the fire which will remove this delusion. You can say weeds which are there are removed by fire. So that weed is like moha, delusion. Santa Saroroha Kanana Bhanu. For Santa Mahatmas who are like a forest of lotuses, you are like the sun. Just like lotus blossoms when sun rises, Santa Mahatmas, their heart blossoms whenever you discuss about Bhagwan with them. Whenever they remind themselves of the Lord, whenever they do Brahma Vichara, Bhagavat Vichara, that delights their mind. So you are like that sun which is delighting the lotus. Bhagwan delights the heart of Rishi Munis. Nisichara Kari Varuta Mruga Rajaha. For all the Rakshasas, who are like the group of elephants, you are Mruga Rajaha. You are like the lion, hearing whose roar even these elephants run away, Rakshasas run away. Tratu Sadano Bhava Khaga Bhajaha. The birds who symbolize samsara, you are like the hawk. So may you protect us from this bhava. Bhava means different things that our mind gets stuck in. Samsara is there. Whenever we experience sorrow, for whatever reason, that is samsara. So Bhagwan, may you protect us from all of that. Aruna Nayana Rajiva Suvesham. Your eyes are very beautiful, having a reddish tinge, like the early morning sun. Aruna. Suvesham, very beautiful in your form. Oh, next line is very beautifully put. Sita Nayana Chakora Nishesham. You are like the moon to the eyes of Sita ji, which is like Chakora bird. Chakora bird keeps on looking at the moon and derives its nourishment from the moon. And you are the moon to the eyes of Sita ji, which are like Chakora Pakshi. In Sanskrit, you will find new words Goswamiji is introducing. What is the word he uses for moon here? Nishesham. And you know how that word is formed? Nisha means night. Isha means Lord. One who is Lord of the night is the moon. A plus E becomes A. That is Gunasandhi. Nishesham. Sita Nayana Chakora Nishesham. Hara Hrudi Manasa Balamaralam. He is the swan bird in the Manasarovar like lake of Lord Shiva. Hara refers to Lord Shiva. Hrudi means mind. Manasa means Manasarovar lake. Balamaralam, a small swan bird. Bhagwan, you are like that small swan bird in the Manasarovar lake, sporting in the mind of Lord Shiva. Naumi Rama Ura Bahu Vishalam. I bow down to Bhagwan who has long arms. Samshaya Sarpa Grasana Ura Gadaha. Whenever my mind is stung by doubts, those doubts are represented by snakes, which also includes self-doubt. Am I capable of this? Am I in the right place, in the right role? For all of that, you are like Garuda. Devotion to God is like Garuda, who comes and frees Bhagwan from that Nagapasha. Later in Uttarakanda, this prasanga will come. Entire Ramayana begins because Garud Bhagwan gets deluded. But that Nagapasha represents self-doubt. Shamana Sukarkasha Tarka Vishadaha. Whenever there is lot of tarka, debate going on in the mind, the one who quietens it down, that is Bhagavan. What is the definition of mind in Tattva Bodha? Sankalpa Vikalpatmakam Manaha. Means it will keep presenting different sides. In that alone we'll get tired. Should I choose A or should I choose B? Whenever such Sukarkasha Tarka happens and Vishada comes out of it. Tarka literally means logic. If you go into pure logic, there also one can have some Vishada, because it's very subtle. But here what it means is, in our mind when we have Tarka, different sides get presented. One who quietens it is the Lord. Bhava Bhanjana, one who puts an end to transmigration. Ranjana Sura Yutha, one who delights the Devatas. May that Bhagwan, who is an embodiment of compassion, protect us. Tratu Sadano Krupa Varutha. Varutha means embodiment. Nirguna Saguna Vishama Samarupam. You are attributeless, nirguna, and you are with attributes also. Sometimes you are partial, vishama, and sometimes you are impartial. Meaning, as Saguna, Bhagwan is very partial. Do you remember that portion? Brahaspati ji giving teaching to Indra Bhagwan when he was trying to put an obstacle for Bharat ji. He said, never misunderstand a devotee of the Lord. Because Bhagwan's support is with that devotee. If you are doing anything to that devotee, you are actually challenging Bhagwan only. So why is he partial towards his devotee? Brahaspati ji said that is his nature. By himself he is not partial. Because that devotee has come closer to him, that is why he basks in the love and grace of Bhagavan. So fire example we had taken. Whoever comes closer to the fire gets warmth. Whoever stays far away is shivering from cold. So can we say fire is partial? You cannot say that. But at the same point it is also true. One who was close got the warmth, One who is far did not get it. That's why these two words have come. Vishama and Sama. As Saguna, Bhagavan is Vishama. Devotee feels much more stronger and calmer than his non-devotee life. But as Nirguna, as far as Nirguna is concerned, he is the same. Jnana gira gotitam anupam. One who cannot be described by speech, one who is beyond senses. Amala, one who is pure and infinite, akhilam. Anavadyam aparam, blemishless and infinite. Naumi Rama bhanjanamahi bharam. One who protects this whole world by protecting dharma. Bhanjana Mahibharam means one who takes the burden of entire earth by holding on to dharma. That Bhagwan I worship. Okay. This word Nirvishesha means attributeless, has a very nice point to think about. I'll just mention it, but we can think on our own. Whatever thing is Nirvishesha, attributeless, has to be one with everything. If you say it is not one with everything, then it will become another thing. You will have everything and this other thing called as Nirvishesha. For a thing to be called a thing, what you need is Vishesha. For any object to be called an object, what you need is attributes. Try to think of an object which doesn't have any attributes. Some attribute has to be there. Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha. If at all there is an attributeless thing, it has to be the substratum of all attributes. That is the beauty of Nirvishesha. One need not seek Nirvishesha somewhere. In the midst of all Vishesha, what is the substratum is Nirvishesha. Aganita Gunagana Bhushana Rama Ashrita Vatsala Jaya Jaya Rama. Lyrics is coming up. Yes. Ayodhyavasi Sita Rama Apad Bandhava Jaya Jaya Rama Dasharatha Nandana Shri Rama Dashamukha Mardana Jaya Jaya Rama Kausalya Sukhavardhana Rama Kamita Phalada Jaya Jaya Rama Papa Vimochana Shri Rama Pattabhirama Jaya Jaya Rama Janaki Vallabha Sita Rama Jaya Raghu Rama Jaya Sita Rama Vanara Sevita Shri Rama Varidhi Bandhana Jaya Jaya Rama Hanumat Pujita Sita Rama Shri Ram Jaya Jaya Rama Raghupati Raghava Raja Rama Patita Pavana Sita Rama Shri Ram Jaya Jaya Rama Shri Ram Jaya Jaya Rama Syavara Ramachandra ki jai Satgurunath Maharaj ki jai. Puja Guruji had explained that when we study this Sutikshna Stuti or any other Stuti, the purpose should be to understand every word, so that when we chant this Stuti, the appropriate bhavana can be invoked in our heart. So if you get a chance, just that portion, Sutikshna Ji Stuti, whatever we covered, you can look at each and every word.